I got 5 things to watch during Grizzlies Summer League, Bennett.
Oh, let's
and
go.
you hit number 1 on the head. It's Zach Edey.
Yeah,
it's Zach Edey for the Grizzlies. Like I said, his mobility, his fluidity, and we keep talking about Zach Edey as a screener, particularly an on-ball screener. Thinking about him in the way that we think about like a Steven Adams and some of the things Steven Adams was able to do. Steven Adams is a really, really heady, really smart basketball player. Steven Adams would see, Ja's by his man, or the primary ball handler is by his man. I don't need to run up there and bring my dude to him. What I need to do is just turn right here and screen my man. The help defender, just turn and screen my guy. Now that person has a clear drive to the basket. So Zach Edey, if he can do some of those types of things, some of those savvy type things, I think that everybody will be put at ease a bit more than they already are. The next up, it's all about the next step for everybody, right? As you continue to grow and progress throughout your career, it's about that next step. I don't know what a next step looks like for GG Jackson. I'm looking forward to seeing that, Bennett.
I am too, and that's one of those where I feel like last season we got a big enough sample size. If GG didn't have a great summer, like I think we all expect him to come out and dominate just because of the great season he had last year, especially the second half of the season. But if he doesn't, I feel like I've seen enough from GG to know what I'm getting going into the season. So that's one of those where I want to see him just go out and dominate and be awesome. If he doesn't, I'm not going to sit here and be super concerned about it.
No, and I think that this Grizzlies franchise, what they do with those types of players, GG Jackson, I think you can throw Zaire into this, the second summer league he played in, Desmond Bain, certainly, the second summer league. They try to start pushing the boundaries of what the players feel comfortable doing. And they try to, in the case of both Bain and Zaire, say, hey, facilitate the offense for us, run the offense. And I think if they do that with GG, I'm looking forward to see what that looks like.
100%.
Seeing what that is.
Yeah, you make a great point. Like, they're probably going to experiment with him out there, right?
Yeah.
And so if it doesn't look great, it's because they're trying things.
Right.
And I'm not that concerned
This
by
isn't the roster that he'll be playing with next season in the NBA for the Grizzlies.
Right.
This isn't like close to that. There's no Ja out there. There's no Bain out there. There's no Jaren out there. But there are players out there who can play at a high level and do some really interesting things. GG is one of them. I just wonder, all right, are they going to try and make him a facilitator? Are they going to give him the ball and let him do more ISO stuff? Are they going to do a combination of both? I think GG Jackson's value on this team could be in the ISO sort of thing. He can get his own shot in the isolation on offense, He can get his own shot. And so late in shot clocks, 4 or 5 seconds left on the shot clock, you can throw it to GG. And I think the Grizzlies might want to see, hey, how comfortable can we be just throwing the ball to GG late in the shot clock and letting him create something the last 4 or 5 seconds on the shot clock. And if he can do that in Summer League, again, it bodes well for him continuing to do that in the NBA during the regular season. Also, with GG, we talked some about facilitating. Maybe GG can be a facilitator. Maybe he can be someone who sets up other players off of, one dribble or getting to the rim, finding the open man on the kick out once he gets to the rim. I do look forward to seeing what that looks like for GG because it's clear, Bennett, he can score.
Yeah.
Right? He can score.
No.
He can score. He can create his own shot. How good is he at creating his own shot with this roster on the Grizzlies? We'll find out. I think we'll begin to find that out during Summer League. And how good of a facilitator and a shot creator for others can GG Jackson be?
Yeah, also worth pointing out before we get to the next one, we will have the game tonight. We'll be doing a 7:30 pregame. You can watch it for free in the Grind City Media app. We'll have a 7:30 pregame. And, get the app, and we'll have the game streaming live at 8 o'clock in the Grind City Media app, as well as all the Summer League games.
Absolutely. Cam Spencer, Jalen Wells, three-point shooting comes in at number 3 for me. I feel that's why these two were drafted, 2 sharpshooters in college. You're talking about Spencer, who was about a career 42% three-point shooter. I think the exact number was like 41.7% shooter in college for his career. He shot 44% from 3 last year. You're also talking about a guy in Wells who shot about 42% from 3 last year. Also, this league, the way that the game is played, shooting. Shooters
Yes.
matter. Getting people out there who can space the floor and help out Ja and Brandon Clark and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane and Gigi when they get going downhill. Having those players on the wings and in the corners so that help can't sit in the paint constantly. I think that goes a long way, which is in part why I think some fans are getting a little anxious about the Luke Kennard situation.
That's what I was about to say.
But if these two can go out there, at least one of them can go out there and look impressive from three, both in percentage and the amount of threes they take, I think that can go a long way to helping shape this Grizzlies offense.
For sure. And I saw that yesterday that Edey and Jalen Wells both locked up their long-term deals to be with the franchise. And so I think you definitely want to see Jalen Wells have a nice summer league because he's going to be part of this thing for multiple years. But, yeah, I'm with you. Like, with the status of Luke Kennard uncertain, which I'm still in the camp that I think that they're going to get that thing done and he's going to be a part of this team just because I'm not sure what the alternative is right now. It just seems
for either party.
Yeah, nothing has come out that suggests that he's going to be anything other than a Grizzly next year. So I'm just going to stick with that until we hear otherwise. But yeah, with his status, that being said, with his status still up in the air, you do want to see one of these guys emerge as a three. I'll throw in Jake LaRavia too, right? Like you want to see one of these guys emerge as a three-point threat in Summer League because we were one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league last year. You know, it's you look at Desmond Bane, and he's one of the best three-point shooters in the world. And so when you hear the Grizzlies were one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league last year, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but they were. So
they took a lot of them.
Took a lot.
But they only shot 34% last year, which is 29th in the NBA, if I read everything correctly. But they made 13 of them per game, which was 12th in the NBA. So if you can turn, you're getting the attempts up. If you can turn those attempts into make, that goes a long way in opening up this offense. I think Cam Spencer and Jalen Wells let's say Kennard comes back. We're both banking on Kennard coming back, right? But he's not going to be here forever.
That's right.
There's got to be somebody behind him coming up in through the ranks, and one of these two, if not both of these two, could serve as your sharpshooters of the future. We were talking pre-show about this guy, Bennett. Number 4 for me is Scotti Pippen Jr.
Yep.
How can he run the team? Can he solidify himself as a clear backup point guard for this team that starts in Summer League? Again, he go out there and average 15, 20 assists. It's like, okay, cool. He did that in Summer League. He's probably got the chops to continue to play meaningful minutes for the Grizzlies during the regular season. But if he goes out there and is playing terrible, if he's going out there and having bunches of turnovers, the offense doesn't really look like it's flowing well with him in charge at the helm, then it's like, oh boy, this might be a G League thing, and the Grizzlies may have to try and figure out some more depth at that position. I think you have Ja, you have Derrick Rose. How healthy he is and will he play, that's up in the air. But you also have Marcus Smart, somebody who I think that when he was brought in here, the Grizzlies like, great, he'll play with Ja in the starting lineup. He'll be your primary defender, and then when Ja goes out, he'll run the backup point guard show. And then Ja comes back in, he goes out. And so they start games, they start halves, and they end together. But outside of that, they're not really on the court a whole bunch together. But if you have Scotti Pippen Jr. there as your backup, well, now it is, okay, Marcus, don't worry about playing backup. You are a perimeter player. You are a wing player with us, and your primary role is going to be to defend the other team's best perimeter option. And I think Scotti Pippen Jr. can help the Grizzlies coaches and front office figure out what they need to do from that backup point guard spot with how well he plays in Summer League.
It's actually the storyline I care about the most going into Summer League because it's a position that's so important for this team, and there are going to be nights that you're going to look up. If Scotti Pippen is, in fact, that third point guard on this team, there's going to be nights that he might even be the starter because you know Ja's going to miss a handful of games. He's a superstar in this league. Superstars miss games, right? Marcus Smart, again, he's going to play on the floor with whoever this other point guard is. So you're going to be staggering minutes there. You know Desmond Bane will be a facilitator at times. Like he's a guy that's logged minutes at that position too. And then D-Rose, one of my favorite players of all time. Again, I don't think you can rely on him to be a guy that's going to play consistently for a full season. We just hadn't seen it
and that's
in the past few years. Yeah,
one of the great what ifs
for sure.
Last one before we get to a break. You brought him up, Jake LaRavia.
Yep.
Just he's the only one of his draft class for the Grizzlies playing, right? I think Roddy is gone. Who else was from that LaRavia? Was Zaire there?
Was Vince a part of that one? Was it Vince?
Vince might have been.
Yeah.
So Vince isn't playing. Roddy's gone. LaRavia's still here playing. When LaRavia looks comfortable, LaRavia does some things that make you go, oh, I see why the Grizzlies took him. But he doesn't look comfortable a whole lot. Or let me say this. He doesn't consistently look comfortable out there on the court. He gets lost sometimes on defense assignments. He gets beat in transition every now and then. Offensively, he still doesn't seem to have a clear role with the team, or at the very least, he's not comfortable in his offensive role with the team. I want to see what he looks like if he can be comfortable. He's going into his third season. This is kind of a make or break year for most players in the league. Season number 3, you had that one season to adjust, had that second season to try and figure everything out. This third season, you should hit the ground running. LaRavia has also been dealing with some injuries also throughout the past season, maybe a couple of seasons, if I remember correctly. It's time. And if he can, you're thinking about him as a shooting weapon. I haven't seen enough of him doing anything to signify to me that Jake LaRavia could be a legitimate option for you as far as it pertains to like a 3-point threat.
Yeah, and I would say this is a huge summer league for him, but we don't even know how much he's going to play necessarily. Like, I could see this being one of those situations where he plays like a game or two. And
really?
Yeah, I just don't know if just because he's been with the team for a minute, I don't know if he's a guy that's going to play this entire stretch of summer league in Utah and Vegas. But we'll see. I do think it's important for this team. The way he's going to be able to play for this team is going to be, like you said, 3-point shooting, which we hadn't seen consistently, although he did play well towards the end of last season. He had a nice stretch of games towards the end of last season. Hopefully he's able to build on that. I think rebounding, too, just because of his position. He can play an undersized 4. Yeah. Rebounding is important for Jake, I think, if he's going to be able to get minutes for the Grizzlies this year.
The Jessica Benson Show with C.J. Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m.